Hello, everyone. First of all, thanks Hash and then SMC for hosting this wonderful conference. So let's get started. So I'll introduce four amazing panelists today. So first, I'll go with the Darryl from Tangent, and Casper from Spartan, and Ryan from Hash, Cynthia from Matrixport. So hopefully today, I think these amazing crypto investors, but also amazing crypto business, the company. So we want to get to two things from this panel. So 15 minutes, we're going to talk about crypto narratives. There are many narratives in the market, but we're gonna hear the perspective from panelists on certain the narratives. And next 15 minutes, we're gonna talk about market opportunities. So before we get really started, I will ask panelists for a quick background and what your firm does.
All right, so my name is Darryl. I'm the co-founder of Tangent. Tangent is Southeast Asia's largest evergreen angel fund, and we primarily invest in both liquid and venture opportunities in the crypto space.
Hey everybody, Casper, co-founder of Spartan Group. We have three main businesses. We have an asset management business with a liquid token hedge fund, a DeFi venture fund, and a gaming fund. We have an advisory business where we do token launches, token raises, equity raises, and M&A. And we have a venture studio where we work on consumer crypto projects with very early stage with founders.
Hello, this is Ryan, co-founder of Hash. Hash started from Korea market. Now we are investing to application and infrastructure every sector, and office in Singapore, Korea, San Francisco, and recently we investing to many Indian founders as well, and few other businesses like company builder and trading and think tank and like custody service with it.
Hi everyone, this is Cynthia Wu, a founding partner and the CEO of Matrixport. Matrixport started the crypto journey by bridging like a lot of crypto investment opportunities and the investors since 2019. So now we are Asia's largest crypto asset manager, custodian, and also brokerage. Also, last year we have ventured into RWA space by launching a sub-brand called Matrixstock, which we have experimented like tokenized US Treasury bill and more products in the future. So happy to share the stage with the final panelist.
Great. And I'm Steve Lee, from co-founder and managing partner from Neoclassic. We just officially launched with Bloomberg News 2 weeks ago. We are crypto early stage VC based in Miami. We are focusing on US, Japan, Korea markets and financial service and consumer sector of the blockchain. And before that, I worked at Block Tower Capital, another crypto fund, for 5 years. And before that, I worked for Goldman Sachs, Singapore and Tokyo for 8 years. So let's start with the narratives. So as for the audience, in crypto, there are many narratives. So at the current market, you might hear the account abstraction and AI, and also the Bitcoin layer 2 and Bitcoin ETF, and then DePIN, meme coin, modular, rollup, RWA. So today, we're going to pick about 4 of them, which are the Bitcoin and meme coin, and then AI, and also RWA. So actually, the panelist doesn't know which question I'll ask on certain narrative, but let's start with the Bitcoin. So this is for Casper, Spartan. So because I think Casper worked in traditional finance at Goldman, and then also he's actually the Spartan is known for serving a lot of institutional investors. Also, Casper shows a lot of interest in Bitcoin ecosystem. So my question to you is, what's your view on current Bitcoin ETF and also Bitcoin ecosystem that a lot of activities are going on?
All right, so there's a lot to unpack there, and we have 25 minutes left. I could talk the whole time about that, so I'll try to be brief. I think in terms of your question, I separate it into 2 different buckets. Let me take the second one first. Bitcoin ETF, I view as, it's not very crypto native from the perspective of it's more about giving mainstream users, mom and pops, investors, and also some institutions access to Bitcoin through a different type of product that's much easier to access for them. And I think that is just like Bitcoin is gravity for the overall crypto space, it'll also be gravity for pulling more institutions and more mainstream interest and capital into the space. And I think that people will start with a Bitcoin ETF, and from there they'll move on to other investment types, other ETFs that'll eventually get approved, and they'll start dabbling in some Web3 apps, have more interest. So I think it's huge for all of us that work day to day in crypto. And then the building on Bitcoin in terms of having Bitcoin being more than just a store of value, which in itself is amazing. That I think for the foreseeable future will be quite crypto native. But I'm very excited about it because I do think over time it will also pull a lot of additional capital and interest into the space, as well as shifting some allocations within the space from maybe the other layer one ecosystems into the Bitcoin ecosystem. The reason for that is I think Bitcoin is built as a very basic blockchain. So if you think about layer twos on top of Ethereum, Ethereum's already very broad and you can do a lot of things with it. Bitcoin, you actually can't do that many things with it. So I think the layer twos on Bitcoin will be much broader in a sense than the layer twos on Ethereum. And then, so they'll capture a lot of value, probably more than the layer twos on Ethereum. And then the projects and applications building on top of those layer twos or across those layer twos, I think we'll also see a lot of traction over time because they all use Bitcoin as their core assets and the core security and transfer of value. And I just think a lot of more people will feel comfortable with Bitcoin as the underlying, especially net new capital in the space.
Great. The next, I will talk about meme coin. I will go to Darryl because based on my research, Tengen, you guys have own money, so you have more flexibility to do many things. So I think it's good for you to hear the meme coin. Also, you are trading. After JP Morgan, you said you become a trader and the Twitter. I read that. So I think it's good for you to comment on your view on current meme coin craze.
Yeah, meme coins are really interesting because I think it took the market by surprise, I guess at the start of this year, with, the meme coins of this cycle would be, Pepe and WIF really taking hold as the outperformers on the secondary markets this cycle so far. We have traded meme coins, I wouldn't say particularly successfully, but we have at least attempted to so far. And I think the reason why meme coins have come out in such ferocity so far is it is a response from the retail participants in the space that they have had enough in terms of buying VC-related bags that are marked up to very high FTVs, very high valuations, and then, just waiting for the token unlocks and token cliffs to play out for existing investors to sell on the open market onto them. And meme coins, by the fact that they are sort of theoretically worthless, it expresses this financial nihilism that has more or less been festering in the crypto markets for some time in a perfect manner. And so this is why so many people are simply submitting to the fact that, well, at least what's happening in the market now is people are realizing there is not as much innovation as they'd like. There's not as many things that people can get excited about this cycle. And so they swing right to the opposite end of the pendulum and they say, okay, I know this is inherently worthless, but the vibes are good, the meme is good, and the hat stays on for some people in this room. So that is, I think, the retail approach to how they're thinking about meme coins. And who knows, we may still be surprised as to what is in store for them for the rest of the cycle.
Awesome. Third out of fourth, we'll talk about AI. So this goes to Ryan. The reason why I go to Ryan is I read the year-end reports. You guys mentioned the blockchain's intersection between AI and blockchain, mainly around content generation and IP and trackable blockchain. But also, you guys mentioned about more efficiency in terms of data. So I think you don't have to agree with your company view, but I want to hear from you that how you view on this current AI blockchain kind of hype in the market.
Yeah, definitely AI is a very trendy keyword because all the Web2 VCs in US and even in Korea, in Asia, they're all investing to AI, and definitely the blockchain ecosystem also want to use this trendy keyword to appreciate the price and making a kind of hype here. But basically, I think the layers in AI is there are three layers. One is like computing power ecosystem. Second one is like a data set, and third one is the algorithm itself. I think so far I'm buying not really buying, but just buying the idea that the computing power decentralized network, I mean AMA DPIN, and I think that's like good for startup. For example, like if you think about like OpenAI or Amazon, Google, they have a huge data center, and that needs a huge sunken cost. But startup doesn't have that amount of money to set up the data center. So if the already decentralized computing power network established, then startup can utilize that network, and they can learn, they can make their own algorithm. So I think it can make a good marketplace for startups, and eventually a lot of long tail AI will come out in this ecosystem. Data set perspective, still the blockchain ecosystem is not onboarding a mass adopted application yet. So actually the data set is very limited. Still, if you think about like Twitter, now forecaster is going up, but still there was a lot of try to taking over the existing like a mass adopted services, but still a little bit far away to go. But eventually it will come. Algorithm itself is like, I'm not sure like, which like the blockchain AI startup can win over OpenAI algorithm or like Midjourney. Still, I think that is a little bit hard to compare with a traditional AI startup. But this AI blockchain ecosystem will be like kind of foundation to feed more AI startups. And eventually, like back to like contents, we are quite bullish on the contents and AI IP in gaming industry. Eventually, this AI will lower the cost of all the content generation, and eventually it will influence the more like flourished gaming ecosystem. Yeah,
Great. So last narrative we want to talk about is RWA. So recently, Matrixport very focusing on RWA real world asset, which is a bond on the blockchain, and many others like institutional investor like a Franklin Templeton and many others are very working on this hard. So I think that the Matrixport recently launched the stablecoin and etc. So please tell us about your view or the company view on RWA space, because it seems a little bit of dwindling down for last few months compared to the RWA hype that we saw last year.
Yes, so I really think the narrative really we see now and the coming years is a convergence of TradFi and the crypto native world. It's highlighted by really two things. One is, of course, like as Casper mentioned, is passing of Bitcoin spot ETF. Especially, I'm really looking forward to the one in Hong Kong because that's going to allow in-kind creation and redemption. Imagine once we have that end of this month, what you're really going to provide a very seamless transfer of value from the traditional world in the fiat denomination asset to the crypto asset by having the Bitcoin in, cash out, or cash in, Bitcoin out. So you're basically the bridge or is already built with that with that vehicle. The second thing is really the RWA. What RWA really mean in terms of in the context of convergence of TradFi and the crypto is that blockchain is currently, in our opinion, a next-gen financial infrastructure where we are mainly trading the native assets, like the 3 trillion, 2.53 trillion native asset on the chain. However, this infrastructure could be a lot more powerful if we can trade other asset that's has a bigger like AUM, addressable market. So I think by tokenizing the US public securities and bring that on chain, it's only a start. I think this trend will take many years to fully play out. At least from last year, when I talked to a lot of basically all the major asset managers in Hong Kong or in the States, and also talking to the major brokers in and banks, they're all talking about RWA. I think in a permissionless or permissioned setup, they're going to bring those assets, fund shares, interest rate swaps, and also private equity, private credits, real estates, or maybe even collectibles on chain. So I think we're going to talk about 5 to 10 times of proliferation of our the value that's going to be locked on chains through the influx of the flourishing of the RWAs, which give us a lot more variety on the assets and also investors. And also by welcoming a lot of traditional investors on chain, they're not going to look for investment opportunities in native crypto asset, but also the asset they are familiar with in a better user experience.
Awesome, thank you. So we're gonna go to the second part of the panel, which we want to talk about the market opportunity, which is second part of our panel. So this market opportunity, I want to break it down to two things. One is East and West, and also the second part is adoption. So East and West, first question to maybe Casper. So you live in China, you live in Hong Kong, and then so you also live in the Western Hemisphere as well. So I one quick question is, what's the big difference you observe in crypto market in East and West in terms of crypto market wise?
Okay, yeah. I've been in Asia the last 20 years, so I definitely have some perspective on that. I think, we're primarily Asia-based, but if you look at our portfolio, it pretty much follows the global composition of, where capital flows in the space. So we also invest a lot in North America, some in Europe, and some in Asia. But where we add a lot of value, I think, to our portfolio company and our advisory clients is the fact that we are based in Asia, we understand the Asian users, ecosystems, and so forth. And the main differentiation I see is that there's a lot more capital available in the West, just in general, both in traditional markets and in crypto. And there's a lot more in Web3, a lot more users in Asia. So whether projects are based, for example, projects that are based in North America or Europe, they really like to have quality Asian VCs or advisors involved in their projects, in their cap tables, because they need that kind of market access, they need that market understanding. For a lot of projects, capital is super important. Capital is a lifeblood. But if you, on top of that, can get investors, advisors, people involved that really understand the markets, help give access, help them make the right choices, maybe avoid some mistakes, save time in terms of the go-to-market strategy, that's very valuable to them. So that's like capital versus users is one of the big kind of mismatches in a way.
By the way, the reason why we chose East and West is by hearing this panelists, the difference means that opportunity. That's why we chose this as the first part. So this next question, I want to go to Darryl. So Darryl is more, I would say, you trade a lot compared to our rest of us. Means that by understanding the difference between East and West, how do you leverage the gap, and then how does it impact on your investment or trading decision, if there's any sort of things that you use by understanding this gap?
So I think on the liquid markets, typically East and West, there's a pretty strong sort of wall between Eastern capital and Western capital. I think in general, you would typically see. So I think the perfect example is, let's say, the Solana-based hype for this cycle is predominantly a Western-based, a Western-driven phenomenon. And a lot of the BRC hype or activity that is going on with inscriptions is driven a lot by Chinese-based capital. So this is just one example of how different geographies prefer different narratives to put money behind. We also see that on a coin-specific basis, where you would have, let's say, on a specific narrative, you would have, let's say, for example, Bitcoin L2s, you would have Stacks as the predominant Western name that people deploy capital into. You would see, if you speak to a lot of the American VCs or American funds, Stacks is a mainstay name in a lot of their funds. Whereas, if you can compare that to the Asian side of things, and you have names like Conflux, names like CKB, Nervos, that take center stage there. And typically, these pools of capital don't really overlap. You don't really see Western funds, even aware of what, something like Nervos is. And you don't see the Chinese whales really, buying a lot of stacks as well. So that's, I think, one interesting thing that you observe. And it, depending on whether the wealth or depending on whether you feel like this is an American-driven market or this is a Chinese-driven market, that may skew what your preference is if you want to long a particular narrative.
Great. So to Ryan, so I think among five of us, as a single entity-wise, I think Ryan has been longest history of investing into early stage VC. So my question to you will be, what's the key difference you see between Western crypto projects versus Asia project, if you have a distinction, based on your experience?
Yeah, so now we invested like 60% to Asian startups and 30% to US startups. But obviously, like US is more like infrastructure centric because basically Casper said, there's a lot of capital in US market, especially the US VCs like A16Z, Paradigm, Merchcoin. They are all like multi-billion-dollar fund, and they can invest tens of millions to the single project. And because of that, the infrastructure-wise, they can endure a few years without additional funding. Also, their LP perspective, also they're all from an endowment fund or a pension fund, sovereign wealth fund. So they're all they can endure tens of years. So US founders are they're always long-term infrastructure perspective, building the products. But Asia is more there's a lot of family offices or individual investors, retail investors. So they're a little bit short term, I think 2 to 3 years, the period. And of course, there's a lot of retail investors. So that's also a very opportunistic. So very easy to list on local exchange like Upbit, Bitstamp, Korean, also Binance, OKX, Bybit, very easily. So they can cash out as soon as possible. And that makes a lot of founders flip very easily, and somehow they maybe expand move to the next phase or different product. So that means a bit as a VC, you feel in Asia we have to obviously very careful about a founder has they're thinking a long-term vision or long-term strategy, and also maybe it's more beneficial for them to build a product for just retail and mass adopted the services in this area. But basically I think also a reputation or reputation perspective, the Asian founders are not that exposed to the Western venture capital. So our role is if we found out the really, really good founder in Asian region, and we introduce them to the Western venture capital, and if they onboard them, then they can get a huge credibility, and they can come back to retail investor. Then they can list to the major exchanges very easily, and vice versa. The US founders, they don't care about Asian market, Asian ecosystem. But recently, if you think about all the successful the US the project like Solana or recently after Sensui, they're all caring about Asian market. That's why they can do much better than our brand. I'm not sure it's appropriate to pick the specific one, but anyway, there's a lot of failed US L1s. So I think that leveraging both market, Asians the benefit and the Western markets benefit, I think those kind of projects will win in this competition.
Great. So quickly to Cindy. So by the way, congrats for the recent announcement crypto brokerage service. So since Cynthia worked at the Bitmain, which is the largest mining company before, also Hong Kong Exchange, which is a regulated entity, and now is expanding Matrixport from the small asset management, but with the various different service. So as a more origin from China, now you want to go to global. So by expanding your business with this different product to the global, what is kind of the challenges you have the most as a kind of Asia entity try to become a global firm?
Yes, that's a question I think about every day. Thanks for asking it. Happy to speak out loud. I think my background is more like as a business operator compared to the rest of the panelists who are mainly coming from investing angle. I think for us, we really see, growth and business expansion essentially is really about user acquisition and retention. So speaking of users, we really look at put them into basket. Like for one basket, which is the crypto native communities, be it miners or crypto sophisticated traders, or be it crypto investors or retails that are already in the crypto space. That's one big category. I think for addressing this group of investors' needs, it's really about giving them variety of products. So we want Matrixport to be their one-stop shop for trading, for accessing to different liquidity venues, that's through brokerage, for storing their assets, that's custody, and for getting various exposure to various yield, that's asset management. So every bull cycle, there's a different yield opportunities. Last DeFi summer, there's a lot of DeFi farming opportunities. So we list those strategy on their platform so people can very easily get a white glove services we call it Send DeFi. So basically people have a very easy SendFi experience, but they get the DeFi yield and yield that they should be getting by doing the farming themselves. And this cycle, people, of course, talking about risk staking, and there's the layers of point systems and token airdrop expectations. So we're also giving users that. And also in bull markets, there's a lot of opportunities just by having the funding rate arbitrage and also various CTA strategies. So we as a platform also offer those alphas to the users. The second basket is really traditional clients, which is what I mentioned, the convergence, right? The people that's coming to the crypto. These are family offices, certain family offices that are first timer to the crypto. These are brokerage. They are trying to bring the digital asset as additional offering to their current users. These are asset managers who are trying to give the alpha in crypto to their traditional investors. So this group of people, I think the point to reach out to them and being able to do business with them is really compliance and regulatory compliance. So that drives our main strategy this year is to get licensed in the main jurisdiction that we're operating in, including PSA license in Singapore, including Type 1, Type 4 license, and VATP license in Hong Kong, including like MiCA license in Europe, and we're also exploring various asset management license in Switzerland. So I think without license, it's impossible to service this group of clients. Yeah.
Okay, great. I wanted to touch upon actual adoption, but time is kicking, so I'll go to the last question. So I want you to go over all the panelists today. What's your firm's focus in 2024? Maybe start from Darryl.
So for us, I talking specifically about
the company's kind of main focus area or the main kind of focus for the entire year, vision, or,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think this year is a pretty big year for Tangent. I think we're in the process of rebranding ourselves to be more at the forefront on the venture side of things for Southeast Asia. At the same time, we are beginning to build our strategies on the liquid markets as well. I think in the near future, we may be expanding to pursuing potentially long short type strategies on the liquid markets, but these are all very segmented, different strategies helmed by different people, of course.
And then actually the one more question to each. So what's the one specific thing you're most excited about the market at the moment? It could be sector, it could be product, it could be layer one.
I think for me, it's still very simple. It's just the Bitcoin ETF. I think that is still the defining event for this cycle. I hope it gets eclipsed by something else, but I think the capital that it unlocks to bring our industry from a $3 trillion industry to a potentially $10 trillion industry will be on the back of this ETF or potentially future ETFs to come.
Casper.
Okay, so for us, it varies by business. On the investment side, it is continued investing the 3 funds that we have, of course. Some of those funds have reached a stage where we're going to be pursuing exits. So that's the real proof in the pudding for a fund manager, is when you exit your positions and see what kind of returns you generate in real life to your investors, not just on paper. And then we'll probably also look at raising new capital towards the end of the year, depending on how the market plays out. On the advisory side, we are working with a lot more clients now. We're looking to expand the team. We see a huge opportunity in the space, and we're working in multiple different areas, including building on Bitcoin, including the gaming space, including in the more centralized exchange space. And on the lab side, we've had a number of initiatives we've been working on for a while that will now start to go to market this year. So supporting those and hopefully seeing those succeed. I think in terms of the second part of the question, the one thing I'm most excited about, I would say for me, it's 2 things. One, it's the gaming, the Web3 gaming, where we obviously have a number of portfolio companies in the space. We have a number of advisory clients. We're starting to see really high quality Web3 games come out now. And we think that'll drive a lot of just adoption in the space, but also user experience and good products in Web3 has been part of the missing component for a long time. I think gaming could be one of those. And then just generally the Bitcoin theme, both in terms of the ETF and the building that's going on in that ecosystem, is something that I'm very excited about.
Yeah, so if you look back to Web2 area, like all the like successful tech giants are all consumer-facing services like Google, Apple, or like Facebook, etc. So eventually, I believe like we didn't change our thesis from day one. Mass adopted application will win over all competition. So this year, and no, we have been investing to crypto gaming since 2019. Now with Spartan, and we still very, very bullish on the gaming. And recently, we are getting more also bullish on the IP sector, and because the IP is like, if you think about like a Web3 ethos, like people eventually want to own something, and IP is like the easiest like way to buy and own in Web3 area. So we are like nurturing a lot of IP like K-pop or Japanese anime or like character, etc. It can be a little bit comparable to meme coin as well, but we are very focusing on this area.
Yeah, for us, one part is that continue to bring more product varieties on Matrixport so that our users have access to all the yield opportunities that they can see and in the crypto space. On the other front is licensing, being able to bring in 10 times more users and capital from the traditional financial space.
Great. And lastly, we Crypto Early Stage VC we just launched. So our goal is to make sure that we build a reputation in the industry, and that we want to work with the amazing founders. And then we want to making an investment into next use cases in crypto space. And the area that we are excited is similar to some of the people mentioned here is consumer sector and financial. Especially in consumer side, we want to focusing on gaming, IP entertainment, and social. And I think next panel, the Rumi from DMM sitting right there is like a large conglomerate entertainment company out of Japan, or many others similar entities are trying to get into Web3. So as Casper mentioned, I'm also excited about a lot of Web2 companies. Finally, they understand the Web3 enough so that they will use their expertise to making a sort of product and service that could bring the major adoption in crypto space. So with that, I think time is up. So this is it for the panel. So hope that you guys learned something from us, and hope to see you next time in Bangkok. Thank you.
Thank you.